Hi, it's Paul with Colorado Counseling Center. Years ago, I read an excellent book called How Can I Forgive You by Janis Abrahms-Spring. And in this book, she talks about 4 different kinds of forgiveness. Today, I'd like to talk about the first form of forgiveness, which she identifies as cheap forgiveness. What is cheap forgiveness? Well, it's granting a quick and easy pardon without really come to terms with the hurt that has been done or how you got there in the first place. Where does cheap and easy forgiveness come from? It can come from different places. Sometimes it's because we're conflict avoidant. Unless you're a trial attorney, you probably don't like getting into it with others, especially those who are close to you. And so it seems like it's a gracious or an easier thing just to ignore it, or just to say, I forgive you, and try to move forward. Well, that might work for small offenses and small disruptions in your relationship. It often doesn't last with anything that really gets inside and hurts us. Cheap forgiveness can also come from a place of being passive-aggressive. We define this as when you're still really hurting and holding that inside of you, but you're telling the other person that you've moved on, that you've forgiven them. In this way, we continue to make another person pay the price for how they've treated us, but we're not addressing it directly. And so really nothing changes, and the relationship may be further poisoned. Another unfortunate place that cheap forgiveness can come from is if a person has been raised in a home where there's been alcoholism, or if you're in a relationship with a partner who is abusive, or who has a substance abuse issue, or a drinking problem. Sometimes these people will try to convince those they live with that they're the ones who are crazy, that there's not a drinking problem, that the abuse isn't happening. And so people who are on the receiving end of that often question themselves. They wonder whether they're going crazy. They think that they're probably making too big of a deal about things. You know, wherever the source, cheap forgiveness doesn't lead to more potential and more growth. It doesn't lead to a better relationship, and it doesn't lead to healing. And so it comes at a great cost. In a way, it's like sweeping things under the rug. But in this case, you're sweeping broken glass under the rug, and your feet are getting lacerated still. And so it's not really merciful in the end. It's not merciful to the other person who's causing the harm, because nothing is required of them to change. They're not becoming a better human being, a kinder, more benevolent, more responsible person. They just keep on doing what they're doing. Or maybe they don't even know how they've been hurting other people. So it's not merciful to them, and it's certainly not merciful to oneself, because in a way we're treating or training other people how to treat us. And if it's not treating us with dignity and respect, as all human beings are deserving of, then it's not really merciful to either person. Nor is it just, because justice requires accountability. And so it comes at a great cost. It also doesn't provide us the opportunity to really understand what's going on, what contributes to this person treating us the way they treat us. Understanding for themselves, about themselves, or understanding about the relationship dynamics. So it really shortchanges us. It seems like an attractive option in the short run, but it carries a long-term cost and can end up in despair, and people really feeling very, very poorly about themselves, like they're not worthy of love and care. Or it can end up in resentment. And so if you have found that you've shortchanged your relationships through granting cheap forgiveness, or you feel like you've been the recipient of that, but things really haven't healed in your relationship, if you're in the Denver area, give us a call at Colorado Counseling Center, or you can go online at coloradocounselingcenter.com/schedule, and we'd be happy to help you find better possibilities in your relationship. If you're outside of our area, certainly pick up the book, How Can I Forgive You by Janis Abrahms-Spring, and find a good marriage therapist in your area who can help you move towards the best possibilities in your relationship. Stay tuned. In our next video, I'll be talking about a second form of forgiveness.